what they're going through. I mean, they can't stop anybody.
Well, I mean, last week against Bessemer City, they scored on the second play from scrimmage, and that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
I mean, they had a big running back, Brody Hilton. He didn't play the second half because of an injury. They had a big quarterback, DJ Maltzby, who's got a pretty good arm, and he's a big kid. He was injured as well. I feel like East Gaston's got pieces, but it just doesn't come together for some reason.
Yeah, I agree with you. This one right here, I'm not even going to waste time on it. Stuart Kramer, 42, East Gaston, 7.
Yeah, I say it's going to be about 49-7. Many as they want to score,
Yeah.
Stuart Kramer, East Gaston can't stop them. They can't stop them.
All right, now jumping down to Belmont as Forest View will make the trip to take on the South Point Red Raiders. And, you talk about with Forest View, your big rivals, you think of Huss and Ashbrook. But really, if you go down Union Road and you ask them if they could beat any team once a year, they're going to say South Point. Shannon, who you got?
Yeah, I think South Point. I think Medlin at Forest View, I think first couple of weeks, I think he's done well, but reality's going to set in tonight.
Yeah.
And you could probably ask any team in Gaston County who you want to beat the most, and it's
South
probably
Point.
South Point.
Yeah.
That's the redheaded stepchild everybody hates. But it's because they win. It's because of the success they've had. But I think playing at home, Forest View just doesn't have the talent to compete with South Point. I'd say 42 to 10. I'll give them 10 points.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. When they play South Point, they have no way of stopping them.
Yeah.
Forest View's won 2 times. They won in 2009, 21-20. They won in 2014, 34-31. 4 points is all they done. They played each other 21 times. South Point's won 19. This is just another warm-up for South Point. South Point easily in this one, 42-17.
So both of you guys calling for a big South Point win. Before we get to Clover and Huss, we'll want to take it to Hickory, Newton Conover. Obviously, Newton Conover a couple big weeks. Well, first, hang on. We got Jeff Jones on the line. Coach Jones, how you doing?
Hey, guys, I'm doing well. I hope it's okay that I call in every so often. It used to be you ask us to, and so you just let me know if I'm bothering you.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. We love to hear from you, Coach Jones. How you doing?
I'll tell you what. Now, I like that projection you had on South Point. I think they'll score a lot of points. I do. I think that every week that triple option is just going to look that much better.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Coach Jones, I got a question for you.
All right, I'll try to answer.
All righty. They talk about rivalries, and they talk
here
about
it
Shelby
goes.
and Burns.
Here it comes.
They played each other
asked me this last
50,
year.
I know, 51 times, and Shelby continues to dominate 37-14. Does Burns even have a chance of even showing up on their home field?
Yes, and you can. All right, tell me what it's been the last 8 years.
You know he's got it
Well,
in
the
front of him.
last 4 years, Shelby has won. But then,
Right.
that's
And what
when
happened the
Coach
4 years
Beam
before
was
that?
there, Burns won.
Right. So it's 4-4 in the last 8 years. And if you look over, you look over the last 20 years, it's pretty close. It's pretty even. Shelby got a big lead on everybody. From about 1967 to 80, right in there. They jumped that. So they got a big lead on everybody. And so you look at it since 1980, and you see it's a lot more of a rivalry than you might think. But you asked me that last year. And I thought maybe you would. You might. So I actually wanted to. I've got a list of the scores for the last how many ever years, and it's a lot closer than a lot of people would think. But we've got the chance to have a good game tonight. Burns has got to hang on to the football. Both Burns and Shelby both have to hold on to the football. They both committed turnovers in their last ball game, and they both committed penalties that hurt them in the last ball game. And so, but guys, I coached in this game for 23, 25 years, and there's nothing like a county game. I mean, when Shelby plays Burns and Burns plays Crest and Crest plays Kings Mountain and Kings Mountain plays Shelby, I mean, you really can't throw the record books out.
Well, Coach, I'm going to look back on these records that I'm looking at right in front of me, and I think this is how it's going to run. Shelby won way back in 1995. I'm going to start then. 6 straight. Burns won 3. Then Shelby won 6 more. Then Burns won 4. Now Shelby's won 4 more. So Shelby's got 2 more years of winning before they lose in 2020.
This is a really streaky series, and I talked about that last year. You know, you hardly ever have a team win one game and the next team wins the next one. There generally is at least a 3-year streak, it seems like, and you know, it sure is fun to be on the right side of that streak, but it's a streak nonetheless. But I think, you know, if you're anywhere near the northern part of Cleveland County, you ought to come out tonight. It's I think we could have a really good ball game.
Well, tell me something. What does Shelby have to do that they messed up on last week? I know Coach Ware was kind of arrayed on a few things that happened during the game, that they come out on the losing end 17-14 to AC Reynolds. What was the problem, or what does Shelby have to change?
Well, turnovers are the big problem for the year. Shelby's turned it over 6 times, and they don't have any takeaways. And they've given up 17 points off turnovers, and they've scored, and they've got no turnovers themselves, so they've scored nothing. And so, turnovers number 1. Number 2, Shelby's got to run the ball, and they haven't been able to run the ball in the first 2 weeks. And so those 2 things, if you can run the ball, it makes it easier to throw. And you know what happened in the second half, in the second half last week up at AC Reynolds in Asheville, Asheville started sending more people than you could block, and you can do that if you don't have to worry about, you know, a quick hitter up the middle, and it makes it tough. It's really tough to protect your quarterback if you can't run the ball. So they got to run the ball, and they got to cut back on turnovers. I mean, those are the 2 things right there.
Hey, Coach Jones, when looking at Shelby and Burns, obviously we're talking about that now, but putting on your coaching hat and going back to when you were coaching, how do you keep the kids from not looking to next week? Because next week's the Shelby Crest game. How do you as a coach, how do you do that?
Well, you can't overlook Burns. I mean, because if you overlook Burns will whoop you. And so we never, you know, when I was coaching, there were more years that Burns was in our conference. In fact, the whole time I coached, Crest was never in our conference. Right. So, and most of the years Burns was in our conference. And so that was never a worry that you were going to overlook Burns, because that's a conference game. That's what gets you in the playoffs.
We're not
that
talking.
Make sense?
Yeah, it does. Not talking about Burns. Just saying the team before Crest, because that's the big rivalry game that, you know, everybody in Shelby talks about. But so whoever they're playing before, how do you prepare to not let the kids, hey, don't look the next week because this team right here can beat you, whoever you're playing. So how did y'all approach that?
Well, it's just a situation that you try to have tunnel vision. You can never look ahead, and it doesn't matter if it's Crest or whatever. But you know, you just got to do everything you can to keep the guys focused. And you know, there's enough film that you can show of a team that was looking ahead. And you know, Shelby. There's a long history of Shelby football, and that's a blessing and a curse in some ways. But you know, you can go back, and historically, you know, I was an old history teacher, so I could always say, well, guys, back before you were born in 1989, we overlooked this team and we got stomped, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, in some ways it might be more difficult today because, you know, everybody's on Twitter and everybody's on Facebook and you know, there's a lot of things that it's hard for coaches to control because, you know, what players are tweeting and that kind of stuff on social media. It's difficult, and that's one of the things we didn't have to deal with, you know, back in the old days when we old people were coaching.
All right, Coach Jones, we appreciate you calling in. Hope you have a good game down there at Shelby tonight, Shelby game at Burns. Yeah, you're exactly right. But well, yeah, it'll be a good game.
I appreciate you talking to me. So y'all keep on and make sure that Shannon makes the right calls. Okay.
I mean, that's what we try to do every week. Whether or not it's, you know, he's got his own self-control. I can't make him do anything he doesn't want to.
I was listening to you when I was coming up the road, and I was just amazed that y'all were calling scores and all that kind of stuff. So, if Shannon's both you, all you guys are tougher than I am. I have a hard time picking scores. So, y'all keep doing what you're doing, and I appreciate it.
All right, Coach Jones, we appreciate you calling in. Coach Jeff Jones giving us a little insight to the Shelby Burns game that'll be happening up in Lawndale. And guys, before we take it to another commercial break, I want to get you guys' pick on Hickory Newton Conover. Newton Conover coming off a couple big games. Hickory, you know, Hickory is Hickory. They can be up, they can be down. Terry, who you got in this one?
Well, this series started way back in 1923. They are in game number 76. Hickory leads this series 47-26-1. Hickory is 3-9 over at Gurley Stadium since 1982. That's kind of tough. Newton Conover has won the last 4, 8 of the last 10, 11 out of the last 13. You know, so you're coming in here, you got quarterback Justice Craig, who had a great game in his first game for Newton Conover. Hickory's coming in 0-1, Newton Conover 1-0. You know, I kind of sat back and I said, what has Coach Pack done? You played Bunker Hill. Now you're going to play a team that's going to have some athletes to match up with you on the field. You know, and when I look at a game like this, and I'm going to go out and take Hickory for a win. I think they're going to win game number 4 over at Gurley Stadium since 1982. Hickory 26, Newton Conover 21.
Remember we saw Newton Conover play at the Jamboree and saw, what offense they were doing, and I just don't think they have it. I don't think they've got it together yet. And I think, again, you made a great point. Now they're playing a team with athletes that can say, okay, we can match you stride for stride. And I think Hickory's going to go over there and just win 28-14.
All right, we'll take it to another commercial break. We'll be right back on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show, only on KTC Broadcasting.
The subscription radio services have their opinion.
You must pay for everything in this world, one way and another.
Now hold on, that's not true.
There is nothing free.
We are. Thanks for supporting free radio.
The Balls, your beach oldies and sports stations, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and W268CU Shelby. Attention Kmart Pharmacy customers. You are welcome at Medical Arts Pharmacy on Grover Street in Shelby and Professional Pharmacy on East College Avenue in Bowling Springs. Bring your prescription transfers to your hometown locally owned pharmacies. All you need is your prescription bottle for your transfer. So if you've been a Kmart Pharmacy customer, you are invited to transfer your prescriptions over to Medical Arts Pharmacy, 108 Grover Street in Shelby, and Professional Pharmacy, 139 East College Avenue in Bowling Springs. Your locally owned and operated hometown pharmacies. Great rates for good drivers and not so lucky drivers at Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby. From auto to home to life to health to business to motorcycles and RV insurance, Witherspoon Insurance Agency can help. Let them compare their rates featuring National General Insurance. You get low down payments and low monthly payments. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby. Call 704-480-9595 or visit the website at witherspooninsurance.com. They've got them all. At Renato Auto Mall in Shelby, they've got Fords, Chevrolets, Buicks, Toyotas, Nissans, Hondas, Kias, GMC trucks, and more. What are we talking about? We're talking about the huge used car selection at Renato Auto Mall. Before you buy, come see Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And they are now your SUV headquarters. Over 50 to choose from, new and used. All makes, all models, and 10 to choose from, priced at under $10,000 at Renato Auto Mall, 4423 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Online at RenatoAutomall.com. Laughlin's Furniture Annual Labor Day Sale is happening now, and they'll be open all day Labor Day. They're offering jumbo rockers for $99.99, recliners starting at $199.99, and two-piece sofa sets for $599.99. Laughlin Furniture, 400 North Lafayette Street in Shelby. They've got quality products, and they've been delivering savings for more than 20 years. Stop by and let their friendly staff help you pick out just what you need, or browse their website at LaughlinFurnitureOutlet.com. Shop their Labor Day sale and save. Laughlin Furniture, the home of the real deal. Call 704-484-3204. For over 100 years, the Stamey Tysinger Funeral Home in Falston has been providing services to families of our community with care and compassion. And now the Stamey Funeral Home has added the Cremation Center along with a new name, the Stamey Tysinger Funeral Home and Cremation Center. The Stamey Tysinger Funeral Home and Cremation Center on Highway 182 in Falston, and the Stamey Funeral Home in Cherryville, located on Dixie Street in Cherryville, serving you with care and compassion in your time of need. Has your old heating and air conditioning system been giving you some trouble? Well, have no fear. Bill Shuford Heating and Air Conditioning is here. Bill Shuford Heating and Air services all makes and models. Just call 704-484-0025. Bill Shuford Heating and Air has been Cleveland County's leader in home comfort since 1983, featuring American Standard heating and air conditioning systems. Visit them online at BillShufordHVAC.com. Bill Shuford Heating and Air, 213 Campbell Street in Shelby. Woo!
Your love is fading. I can feel your love fading. Girl, it's fading away from me.
Welcome back inside the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Shannon Allen, Texas Terry, Reinhardt, Carson Dockery along with you. Food brought to you by Max Grill. Terry with a filet of flounder. I had a Philly cheesesteak. Shannon will order something one day. I'm sure one day he'll just be so hungry that he can't.
This diet thing I'm on, I'm hitting it pretty hard. So
one day, man. One day. It'll be the cheat day, and Friday will line up.
One of these days, you're going to come walking in there 120 pounds. You say, you know what? I'm hungry.
Yeah. Roll me out of here.
That's right.
All right, so let's jump back into some football, and we'll start. It'll be in South Gastonia, one of probably the biggest game in Gaston County this week. Clover coming up over the border to take on Hunter Huss, and last year, that was one of the best games of the year last year, an overtime thriller in Clover. Now, tables turned. They're in the hole over there in Huss. Terry, who you got in this one?
Well, you know, it's funny that these two teams, this is only game number 3 between these two. Clover leads the all-time series 1-0-1. They played back in 1964 and tied 6-6. And then last year, we was talking about that game, 42-41. Hunter Huss failed on a 2-point conversion. At the end of it, they had a chance to win this game. Clover, though, I mean, you're coming in North Carolina. This is a good matchup.
It is.
I mean, you know, you're talking about two teams that's going to throw the ball. The corners and the safeties are going to be part of this game. You know, but I'm going to have Clover coming out on top. I think it's going to be close, but I got Clover winning 35-31.
Clover is not playing Forest View. Okay, they're playing probably the best team, in my opinion, right now in Gaston County, maybe in that conference, in Hunter Huss. So I think Hunter Huss, the quarterback Wallace, that is his name, Joe Wallace, he completed 61% of his passes so far this year. He's got a really good, maybe a sense of what he's doing now. Okay, I think Clover's going to go. I mean, they'll show up, and it may be close at the beginning, but Huss will pull away. I think they're getting some momentum now. And I think they're really starting. They're going to make a lot of noise this year, and I say 42 to probably. I'm say 42-14. It'll be a big win.
Terry, look at that.
42-14.
14. Who has Clover beat? What have they done so far? They beat Forest View.
Okay, held Forest View to 3 points. And then they had to kick that at the very end of the game. We could hold them to that. I don't know, me and you and Carson will have a hard time doing that, but anyway.
Hey, you never done. Don't let the weight fool you.
He's sneaky athletic, Terry, is what he's saying. All right, now let's jump over.
42-14.
42-14. I mean, man.
Hey, you got to admit, Huss has got athletes.
Yeah, they do.
Huss is going to be that conference is going to be wide open.
Well, I mean, this is how I look at it, and you know, and I get some people say, how do you look at North Carolina versus South Carolina? To me, it's like cats and dogs. Sometimes we're the cats, and they're the dogs down there, and they're running us all over the place because most of the time South Carolina beats North Carolina teams, and I know that's bad because I'm a North Carolina person, you know, but most of the time they bring, I'm not going to say better athletes, but they bring a team up here, and you think of how many coaches that we had that have left North Carolina to go coach in South Carolina.
Your boy, Terry.
You know, that's what I'm saying. Tommy Knox. I mean, he's down there.
There's other factors.
They are.
Monetary factors there too.
They are, but I mean, I'm wanting it all to change because we're in North Carolina. We pull for North Carolina, and we pull for every time a team like Shelby going down to play South Point last year. You know, somewhere along the line, we have to make a step up to beat one of those teams to say we can compete. Because here lately, when we go play them, we come out on the losing end.
Yeah, and I think, Terry, you see that not only in games like, Clover, Huss, and individual high school teams. I mean, you look at the Shrine Bowl outcomes over the
Shrine Bowl. We won the Shrine Bowl
this past year, but I mean, that was the first time in, 5 or 6 years, I want to think, from North Carolina. It had been a while. It had been a while, and I mean, South Carolina, it's really that upstate area, like you're talking about, Terry. Rock Hill, Fort Mill, you got Burns, you've got South Point with an E, Northwestern. You've got all these teams that are, I mean,
Gaffney.
There you go. And speaking of that, last week, what did Rock Hill do? Beat the #1 team in the poll, South Point, with an E. They beat them last week
with an E. You're exactly right. All right, let's jump over to that final board. We're going to start over in Lawndale. The Golden Lions of Shelby traveling not too far out of the way to take on the Burns Bulldogs. Shannon, who you got in this one?
Well, listening to Coach Jones talk a while ago, and you know, Shelby, the mistakes they made last week, a lot of people look at that score, and you know, he didn't mention this, but AC Reynolds, they got a kid going to Wake at one of their tackles or quarterbacks at East Carolina, big, strong arm, big lineman. You know, so Shelby took their lump, but I think they're going to bounce back tonight very easily. And I like Coach Devine at Burns. I think they do a great job, but I just, you know, if they're going to run the ball, you can't run it on Shelby's defense. You're going to have to throw it. And if they're just going to primarily run the ball this year, it's not going to be close. I mean, they're going to have to change what they do. There's something's going to have to change. So I think Shelby win 35. I must pitch a shutout, 35-0.
Woo. Terry, what you got?
35-0. That's a good score. On my end, I've got Shelby coming out on top, and I'm with you. I don't think that Burns can come out there and say, we're just going to run it down your throat, because Shelby's going to stop that.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's going to happen. Can Burns pass? We didn't see it in the Jamboree.
Nope.
They run the ball, you know, and whatever happened at Alexander Central was not funny. I mean, you know, but this is another game, and I've got Shelby winning this one. Maybe not as bad, because Shelby's offense is scaring me. Can they score? I mean, number one, Jones says, hey, we turned the ball over.
Yep.
But, you know, and he has something nailed down on his head. If we cannot run the ball, we have to pass. You know, and if you're going to rely on Shelby to win a state championship with just passing, that's not going to happen. They've got to have the run. They've got to have the run. But I've got this one. I got Shelby 21, Burns 7.
All right, next we'll move to a game that's going to be happening right down the road at Rudisville Stadium. West Lincoln making the short trip down from Vale to take on the Cherryville Ironmen. West Lincoln could be the best team in Lincoln County this year. Cherryville 2-0 for the first time since the mid-'80s. Terry, who you got in this one?
Well, the biggest thing with this game, it's the first time ever these two teams have met unbeaten.
Wow.
So there you go.
Terry.
All the way back to 1977.
Big and deep.
You
Man,
know,
where do you
Coach
find this stuff, man?
Coach Sane comes into this game 7-1 versus Cherryville. His only loss come back in 2013 to him, and only loss come back in 2011. He lost 13-7. But this West Lincoln team believes in themselves. They got a lot of seniors. They believe that, hey, this is going to be a good year. And, you know, when you take young guys and you put them out on the field and you show them, and even in practice, they look good. And, I mean, that's, you know, I hate to say it that way, yeah. But even in practice, they're looking good. Cherryville, I think Cherryville's defense is better than what a lot of people think. I mean, they've held people to less than 20 points the last two games.
Yeah.
I think they're going to give West Lincoln a little bit of trouble here. Will the game be close? I think West Lincoln, and here they go again with that, as you go along into a game, will West Lincoln wear them down?
Yeah.
You know, these guys are, and I'm gonna tell you, when we go look at athletes, and I'll put this out here. Yesterday during a JV game, West Lincoln was out there, and Cherryville's JV guys were having cramps. West Lincoln never had a one. You know, and sometimes it's how you drilling them during practice, before the games ever get there. These guys from West Lincoln, I do not think are going to falter. I think they're going to go on, but I got West Lincoln, not as bad as what Kevin put up on the board, but I got West Lincoln winning 35-17. 35-17.
West Lincoln with Van Sook and Eichert. Those two, that's your two-headed monster coming out of Vale. Cherryville has, you know, Cherryville early start of the season had a great start. Coach Pruitt was doing a great job up there. But now they're going to face a team that is very physical, if not as physical as they are, but more physical. And they're going to run it at you. They're going to do everything they can to make you do something different. I think Coach Sane, I think it's going to be a good ball game, probably one of the better ones of the night. I think West Lincoln comes out on top, and it's going to be close. I say 24-21. But Cherryville, if they want to win, if they want to say, okay, we have arrived, this is the game. Hey, beat a good West Lincoln. Arguably, you said it, best team in Lincoln County. If we beat them, then hey, maybe we are for real.
All right. So. One more game before you're listening on WCSL. Milton and Danny take over. Real quick, North Gaston and Lincoln and North Gaston averaging right around what Kevin put up on the board, 55 points. Lincoln struggling on offense. Real quick, Terry, who you got in that one?
Well, I'm going to make this very simple. Lincoln needs to turn around and 0-2 start and push forward if they want to be in the playoffs for the 19th consecutive year. The series started way back in 1923. Lincoln leads it 19-9. Will this be for them to bounce back? No. I think North Gaston's going to have too much offense in this game. North Gaston 42, Lincoln 21.
Shannon?
I've got it. Well, I changed my score. Mine's now 49. I'm going to say 49-28. Neither one of these teams is going to be able to stop the other one, but I like North Gaston's chances. I think Lincoln will stop themselves more than North Gaston will stop Lincoln. But North Gaston with Isaiah McNeil and Kareem Kennedy, is that you said his
Yes.
name, Kennedy? You know, they're putting together a good run down there, and Coach Patton's doing a great job. But yeah, North Gaston will go up there tonight and win easily.
All right, we'll take another quick break. We'll be right back on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show only on KTC Broadcasting.
We are gearing up for the Labor Day holiday weekend, and it looks like the best chance for rain this holiday weekend will come Saturday. Isolated showers and storms for Sunday, and maybe not much of anything on Monday. Now, this evening, we're going to look for a few showers and storms for the area high school football games. Partly cloudy overnight, the low in the low 70s. Tomorrow is partly cloudy. During the afternoon and early evening, we'll watch for a few showers and storms, upper 80s to low 90s. Maybe an isolated storm Sunday, upper 80s to low 90s. I'm Mike Mays in the Weather Center.
Currently from the KTC Broadcasting Studios, it's
6:31, and the temperature is 91 degrees.
Great rates for good drivers and not so lucky drivers at Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby. From auto to home to life to health to business to motorcycles and RV insurance, Witherspoon Insurance Agency can help. Let them compare their rates featuring National General Insurance. You get low down payments and low monthly payments. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby. Call 704-480-9595 or visit the website at witherspooninsurance.com.
Now you can earn 1,000 points for every night you stay at the Hampton Inn. It's part of the Hampton Inn's Grand Nights promotion. Your points will add up to unforgettable experiences. Find out more by visiting your nearest Hampton Inn. You'll always come back with a tale to share. Start turning points into stories worth sharing. Visit the Hampton Inn on Remount Road in Gastonia and start earning your points today.
Welcome back on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Carson Dockery, Texas Terry, Ryan Hart, and Shannon Allen along with you. Terry, we've got a good buddy of yours on the line, Lewis Carpenter.
Mr. Lewis,
guys.
how are you this Friday evening?
Well, I'm doing all right. I see Calvin played one of my favorite songs there as the intro.
What are you talking
It's
about?
real,
Love
will
me?
you love me tomorrow?
Yeah, well, you're going to love me tomorrow.
There you go. Listen, I got a couple questions, or a couple predictions. What do you think about Ashbrook and East Lincoln?
Well, I mean, I took it 35-14 Ashbrook. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
That's what I was telling them. I went down there Tuesday and saw Coach Lubowitz, but I was amazed at the kids that were coming out of the locker room before me and him got to talk. Lewis, those are some big kids that East Lincoln has got.
Huh?
They do. They've got some. I mean, like I said, they're high school kids, but they're men. You know, they're not fat. They're men.
Yeah. What do you think about Bessemer City going up to Chase?
Lewis, Chase, with the coach coming over from Crest, and he brought a couple other coaches with him, I think he's putting the right scheme together at Chase. Athletic-wise, Chase, I think is better than Bessemer this year. Bessemer lost for whatever reason, lost some players from last year. It'll be a close game, but I think Chase will, just my opinion, I think I was the only one that picked them, but I think Chase will, I think the athleticism, and they've been in both games they've been in this year, I think they'll win this one. But Bessemer City, Coach Boone's, I mean, you know as well as I do, he's at the helm, but anything can happen, and he can get all out of the players they can. So, what do you think?
What about West Lincoln? What about West Lincoln and Cherryville?
Well, I tell you what, Lewis, you got two teams coming in undefeated, first time ever. So.
Oh my goodness, undefeated! I didn't realize that.
Yes, it is. So I mean, there's a place you need to be right now, Coach. But this is a game. I think
Cherryville beat Bessemer City too. So.
Yeah.
Bessemer City's one of those mystery teams right now. You really don't know whichever team shows up. You know, that they got to get an identity.
That's exactly right, and they've been that way before. Of course, he was looking for a good year. He had a bunch of lettermen back, and he was hoping to get, do pretty good.
Well, yeah, I mean.
Let me ask you one more, and I'll let you go. Stuart Kramer and East Gaston.
Well, there's another one of the games. Stuart Kramer's awful big and strong, and they're physical. East Gaston, I don't think they can be on the same field with them. And there's nothing against them guys. I just don't think they have enough athletes. But Stuart Kramer should win that one pretty easy.
A friend of mine was telling me the other day that he watched Stuart Kramer play Lincoln, and he said he was impressed. And this is a guy that's been a coach, and he knows what he's talking about. He said he was impressed with Stuart Kramer. He said they've got a good football team.
You know, one thing about it, though, when I sit back, and I know I hear that, and and I guess that's what kind of gets Lincoln and fans kind of upset, because Lincoln did turn the ball over 4 or 5 times in that game. You know, and when you do that and you're down, lose like down 35-0 from the possession and the field position that you're giving another team, the chance on you winning that is not good. So.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, Lincoln started off slow last year. Hopefully they can turn it around again.
Well, you're exactly right, Lewis. Well, we appreciate you calling in, Lewis. I hope you're doing
Joel,
good.
thank you for talking to me, and we'll holler at you later, guys.
See you, buddy.
Right, thank you, Lewis. Good. Lewis Carpenter calling in, getting some high school knowledge from Lewis.
Hey, let me tell you about. We were talking about Stuart Kramer. I was thinking about this as Lewis was talking. You guys remember Trey Harbison played at Crest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
His brother, for living situation, lives down in I guess Mount Holly, wherever. He goes to Stuart Kramer, Cramerton, but he was a kicker, and this year he switched to wide receiver. So I mean, I know the kid can run. Now can he catch? I don't know, but you talk about Kramer being physical. They're also athletic. Yeah. You got some athletic kids down there at Stuart Kramer, and East Gaston. Best of luck to them. They're not gonna. Again, Stuart Kramer's that team. It's that Gaston County team. You look at them and say, okay, all right, they're worried. Are they worried this year about beating South Point? Or are they worried about winning the conference? Yeah. What's their goal? That's why I look at Stuart Kramer.
All right, real quick, we want to go over the What's Up Shopper Power Poll. We will take it through about 5 at a time. We'll start at the bottom end. We'll run from 20 to 16. It's coming in at number 20. It's Bessemer City at 19. The Highland Tech Rams. 18th is the high-scoring North Gaston Wildcats. 17, the Mountain Island Charter Raptors. And coming in at 16, the South Point Red Raiders. Out of that bottom group, Shannon, which one sort of piques your interest?
Well, obviously South Point. That's the team right now. And I know they lost that first game to Crest, and so that's dropped them down significantly. But, that's South Point will easily come out of that group. And, again, losing what they lost last year.
Yeah.
And they've got guys now in place that's a lot of people saying some good things about him. The Leaper kid, is it Leaper at quarterback or
I believe so, yeah,
Leaper,
Leaper,
Leaper, doing some great things running that red bone. So South Point's my team to look out for out of that group.
Terry, who you got out of that?
I'm going to say the same thing. If I had to pick somebody besides South Point, I'd go with Bessemer City.
Yeah.
Hey, they lost to Cherryville. Did you show everything in Cherryville in game 1 when you know you're going to have to play them again? So.
I mean, talk about
North Gaston.
North Gaston. I mean, that's a team that, Kevin threw 55 on the board. I think he sort of threw it up there as a joke, but, I mean, that's what they're averaging. They scored, 69 in the first week, 42 last week. They're a team that, Isaiah McNeil and Kareem Kennedy had a quote the other day in the Gazette. He said, "I'm the best running back in Gaston County."
Boom, right there.
Whether or not you agree with that statement, but he's got some numbers he can back that up with, and if you play with that kind of confidence, it's hard for somebody to stop you.
And it's tough when you're scoring that many points and you look at your record and you're 1-1.
Yeah.
Because they put up a lot of points against East Rutherford. They just can't stop nobody.
Yeah.
It's bad if you're an offense knowing, and I will say this about any team that has a great offense. It's going to last until you get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then some defense is going to stop you just dead cold.
Yeah.
That's what wins championships, and it always will. But now somebody proved me different.
I really think on the defensive side of the ball for North Gaston, it's that back end speed. It's the defensive backfield for North Gaston. Because, I mean, they're probably going to be as physical as anybody. They might not have the talent up front that Stuart Kramer's had or South Point. But that back end in North Gaston, I think that's their weak spot because teams are going to attack them vertically, and that they're going to try and stretch that defensive backfield and see if they can, you know, if they're up to that challenge because they obviously don't go up against a passing attack super often in practice.
Does McNeil and Kennedy, do they play defense?
I know Isaiah McNeil is one of the DBs. I want to think Kennedy also plays a little bit of linebacker.
Okay, I just want.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to run through 15 through 10. Starting at number 15 with the Forest View Jaguars, 15 through 11, I should say. 15, the Forest View Jaguars. Coming in at 14, the Shelby Golden Lions. In at 13, the Thomas Jefferson Griffins. At number 12, the West Lincoln Rebels. And at number 11, Newton Conover Red Devils. Terry, 11 through 15. Who you like in there?
Oh, yeah, it's kind of hard to throw Shelby off to the side. I'm going to take them as, top notch out of that group. West Lincoln, Newton Conover, I think, are there. West Lincoln, I would take them next, but, that would be my pick with Shelby.
Yeah. You got to look at Shelby now and saying, okay, coming off a loss last week, early in the season, can they rebound, bounce back? Can they start getting that, as you mentioned a while ago, Terry, that offensive identity? They've got to get one now. If they're going to be successful, especially going into the playoffs, but also into the conference. You got to have an offensive identity.
Okay, we got guys. I guess I could have done it in there, but you guys can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Just got a text and notification calls to double confirm that there is an actual lightning delay at Burns High School right now.
Oh, well, all right.
Even though there's no game started, there is nothing but sunlight at the field, apparently, according to their whatever magic
the AT
device that they have.
The lightning.
It's too close, and they're actually in a lightning delay. They cleared the stadium of players, fans, and everyone. So Tom's trying to get an official start time. Whether they're going to still try to start at 7:30 or not, he does not know. So we're going to just, guys, stay tuned. We'll keep you updated the best we can. If you hear Lincoln football or Cherry football on WHS Shelby in a little bit, folks, it's because Burns in a lightning delay, and then we're going to have a little delay before we maybe start their broadcast. So was that thunder?
I believe that was.
Well, there's thunder in Cherry.
It was heat light.
That's exactly
so
probably.
Anyway, we're going to be giving an update in about 10 more minutes. So there's that.
All right. So
I will say one thing about that. Last night at the JV game for West Lincoln, they had the same thing. There's nothing around. There's a couple clouds. Next thing you know, you hear thunder. Next thing you know, there's a lightning strike. And then it had cleared the field again over there. And there's nothing around. I mean, just maybe one cloud.
It blows my mind that football is so proactive. I mean, I'm not mad about it one bit. Great. Don't let anybody get struck by lightning, obviously. But I feel like football is a lot more proactive than baseball in that regard. I mean, I've been at Grizzlies games, and I'm sitting up in the press box a couple streets back. You can see lightning, and I mean, baseball is a game where you are literally holding a rod above your head. I mean, either wooden or metal, and you've got metal spikes on. You're in just as open as a field as football. So I mean, it's good to see that maybe baseball.
Well, baseball they don't clear the stadium either.
They don't. Yeah, you're right.
Just say clear the field.
Yeah.
Fans are still sitting up there eating, joking, talking, whatever.
Yeah. All right. 10 through 6 coming in at number 10. It's Community School of Davidson. In at number 9, the Cherryville Ironmen. At number 8, the Stuart Kramer Storm. At number 7, the Ashbrook Green Wave. In at number 6, Kings Mountain Mountaineers. Now, this is sort of where you're getting closer to the top and sort of the cream of the crop here, Shannon. Who do you like out of 6 through 10?
I like Kings Mountain right now because I like what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to find somebody else to replace Mac for right now. He'll be back, as the season goes, but now they're going to have to, we've relied on him for the past 2 years.
You have to adjust.
Now you're going to have to, you're going to have to adjust. You're going to have to find a running back. And, your offense is going to have to, now teams, we were talking about that a while ago, Terry, now teams are going to have to stop Wade because they know Wade's going to get the ball, the quarterback.
Yeah.
So now you got to find somebody else to complement him. So I'll choose Kings Mountain.
Terry?
Yeah, I'm with you also. I'm going to say Kings Mountain. I know Ashbrook and Stuart Kramer are close, but Kings Mountain, I'm on the same page you are. How long is he going to be out? When will he come back?
What's it going to be like when he comes back? What can he do?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And when all of a sudden you sit here and you're defensive now, okay, Mac's not back there. Wade's your man. We stop him, we stop them.
Yeah.
And we have seen this consistently year after year after year with Kings Mountain. that they have a top-notch athlete that goes down, that it's somewhere along the line hurts their whole season.
Yeah.
You know.
You're exactly right. All right, now moving into the top 5. In at number 5, the East Rutherford Cavaliers. At number 4, the Maiden Blue Devils. In at number 3, the Hunter Huss Huskies. At number 2, the Crest Chargers. And sitting on top of the power poll, the Bandy's Trojans at 2-0, 6 power points. And out of that top 5, I mean, you've got a couple teams in the Big South that, I mean, you know, Shannon, you were talking about Crest and Huss, probably, along with Kings Mountain, that's probably the cream of the crop in the Big South. East Rutherford, a team that put up 60 points. Bandy's 2-0 and sitting on top of the power poll, so you got a lot of ways you can go. Who do you like in the top 5?
That's going to be tough. You know, you mentioned the obvious ones, you know, the Huss and Crest. I'm going to say East Rutherford.
Yeah.
East Rutherford, again, guys, they've got some talent over there, and if they can get it together, can they pull it all together, especially, you know, this preseason or the pre-conference season part of the schedule, yeah, they're probably going to win every one of them.
Yeah.
But now when you get into the conference, how good are you going to be against South Point? How good are you going to be against Shelby? That's going to be your measuring stick for East Rutherford. And if they come out on top there, hey, I mean, that's – if they get home playoff in the home field advantage in the playoffs, they're a tough team up there.
Yeah.
So East Rutherford, but again, Huss and Crest, Kings Mountain, I even throw in Ashbrook and Stewart Creighton. Look at that conference.
Yeah.
That's going to be a dynamic conference this year. And I think 3 out of the top 5 are legit strong teams, and will continue to get better.
Terry, who do you like?
Well,
who do you like out of the top?
I just like the top 5 because if you think about it, Bandy scores, Crest scores, Hunter Huss can score, Maiden can score, East Rutherford can score. You know, then you go, okay, who's your defenses? Bandy's has done well. Well, they did give up quite a few to St. Stephen's, but if you go defensive-wise, you got Crest and you got Maiden, are my 2 teams that have really stopped people because defense what wins championships, and I'm going to throw Crest out there as my team.
All right, I just want to play a little bit of conspiracy theorist real quick. So obviously that Southwestern 2A is a 6-team conference, and really you've got 2 of the best 2A programs in the state in South Point and Shelby in that conference. But right now, I mean, do you guys think there's any scenario where East Rutherford can come out and win this conference?
Oh yeah, I think there's if Shelby doesn't find their offensive identity, again, that's a big thing. But East Rutherford now, they throw the ball. Like I said, it's a wide open offense. If Shelby can stop or South Point can stop that pass, now East Rutherford's going to have to run it. Can they run the ball? Can they run it against a very good defense that Shelby and South Point both are going to have?
Yeah.
And you know, it's either one of those 3 teams, if they finish first in the conference, would not surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
One bit.
Well, it's one of them things when you speak of Hunter Huss, they making their move up. Now here's East Rutherford. Here's your opportunity. You play Shelby.
Yeah.
You play South Point. If you can knock one of them off, then you're part of the mix.
Yeah. It was the same as last year. I said the same thing last year. East Rutherford's a team to watch, but then they got destroyed.
Yeah.
You know, by both teams. So, yeah, but right now Shelby and South Point, that's the 2 teams beating that conference.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. All right, real quick, we got a little time to burn. You know, obviously we're covering Gaston, Cleveland, and Lincoln. And you guys, Terry, obviously Lincoln County, I guess you can, I mean, Terry called me some sort of aficionado, but I wouldn't buy that. Shannon, obviously the Cleveland County man. I want you guys to pick the best team, 1 per county, the best team out of each county. Gaston, Cleveland, and Lincoln. Right now at this point in the season. Not the best team at the end of the year. Who you think right now, who could win? Terry, you want to start?
I'll start it. Lincoln County, West Lincoln.
All right.
That's who I'm going to take. I think they can be the best in Lincoln County. Gaston County, Hunter Huss. I think they're the best team that's down there. The best athletes, the best player for player, and you know, their competition is helping them this year, I think, of who they're playing, and I think that's going to prepare them as the season goes along. And if you go now to Cleveland County, hey, Mac hurts Kings Mountain that he's not playing, and Shelby's struggling. And you got Burns, but my whole team there is going to have to be Crest.
Yeah. Shannon?
All right, Lincoln County, I'll say West Lincoln, obviously. Gaston County, Lord have mercy. You know, Huss right now is the team that I think is making the move to separate themselves from the pack. Now, Cleveland County, that's a juggernaut. Cleveland County is one of those. Again, Terry, I agree with you, except I think Kings Mountain is still going to be the better team still the better team right now. Crest, I've seen them play one time, and competition wasn't that great. And Crescent did some things great. They did some good things, but they don't seem to have that. They just don't seem to have somebody that can just game changer.
Yeah.
Okay. Shelby's got one.
Yeah.
Kings Mountain's got one. So I say between Kings Mountain and Shelby in Cleveland County.
All right. Take another quick commercial break. Our final one here on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show, and we'll be right back only on KTC Broadcasting.
People are talking about when they listen.
I listen at work. Mostly at work. 5 days a week.
The Boss, your beach oldies and sports stations, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and W268CU Shelby. Great rates for good drivers and not so lucky drivers at Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby. From auto to home to life to health to business to motorcycles and RV insurance, Witherspoon Insurance Agency can help. Let them compare their rates featuring National General Insurance. You get low down payments and low monthly payments. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby. Call 704-480-9595 or visit the website at witherspooninsurance.com.
From Shelby, turn off Highway 74 at Highway 226. Up Highway 226 to the caution light at Zion Church Road. There on the corner is Kibo's. Been there for over 20 years. Kibo's, where you'll find Hunt Brothers Pizza, snacks, candy, chips, also soft drinks, hand-dipped and packaged ice cream, bread, tobacco products, and much more. Yes, that's Kibo's. And don't forget to fill that vehicle up with gasoline at Kibo's, 226 North at the caution light in Shelby.
Listen to Dr. Randy Davis on the Sea Cruise every Monday from 2 until 6 on The Boss.
Your beach, oldies, and sports station.
WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, W268CU Shelby.
Come and get it.
Welcome back to the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Carson Dockery, Terry Reinhardt munching on some filet of flounder. Shannon Allen as well. One more time, I want to give a big shout out to Max Grill, our pregame meal sponsor. Terry, as I mentioned, with the fish and tartar sauce. I had the Philly cheesesteak. One day we'll convince Shannon Allen to eat some food. One day it'll all come around. All right, so once again, I want to give a quick oh, what do I hear? What's that? What is it?
Who is that coming? Somebody said it's a Trojan. And they're asking for everybody in the world to stand up and applaud because the Bandage Trojans, the #1 team in our poll. What more can we say?
They beat Jacobs Fork Middle, and who was the other team?
I mean, have they ever been #1 in the power poll?
I would say no.
I mean, there's no history to that.
Back in the day, I think it's before. I think Kevin was still crawling then, but when Matt Woodliff was their linebacker, and Bandage, I remember Bandage and Shelby playing in the playoffs. Woodliff went to Wake Forest, but Bandage had some stout teams back in the day. Back when.
Well, they went to the state championships and lost a couple.
They also have a professional wrestler.
Look out!
Look out, man! What's his name? Terry. Braun
Strowman.
Whatever that is. The only Strowman I know is Marcus, and he plays for the Blue Jays. But what do I know?
Learn something.
You do. All right. So one more time, I want to go over the. If you are listening to us right now, you are listening on not WLON 1050, so WOHS as well as WCSL. Coming up tonight, you're going to have North Gaston at Lincolnton. That one's going to be up in Lincoln, at Lincolnton, I should say. It'll be the LincolnCounty.com game of the week. Ken Link, Tim Johnson, and Hunter Yancey on the call on WLON 1050 AM and 107.5 FM, as well as KTCBroadcasting.com. Coming up at 7 o'clock on WCSL 1590 and 92.3 FM, it'll be Milton Baker and Danny Aker on the call. As the Terry, is there a name for this rivalry, West Lincoln and Cherryville? There's got to be something, right? There's nothing.
They do not have a name for
Come on, man. How far are they apart? What, 15 minutes? However,
yeah, probably 15 minutes.
No, that was Ford in West Lincoln.
Yeah, that's the Battle of Hog Hill.
Hog Hill. That's
Hog Hill. That is. See, that's what Terry. I'm going to put you on that. You need to come up with a name for that. All right.
I need to come up with a name.
You got to come up with
okay.
Otherwise, we're going to call it the Terry Reinhardt Bowl.
Oh my Lord, they don't want to do that.
They don't want to do that.
No.
You're exactly right.
You know, you had to get with them a little bit. Coach Sane, they're the ones that come up with the Battle of Hog Hill, and you know, Coach Miner finally took the daggum trophy. They got a nice trophy.
What road connects Cherville and West Lincoln? What's that
150?
road?
Or
274.
274.
274.
That's not bad. You can live with that, can't you, Terry?
Right on my street.
Well, I mean, you know, you've got so many. You got so many good ones. I mean, I mean, that sounds. I mean, I think we can come up with something better than that.
Yeah, we can.
We got. I mean, you've got. You know, Huss and Ashbrook. That's your Battle of the Bell. That's not. To be honest, I mean, I went to Huss. That's not that creative. A lot of schools battle for bells. I mean, Carolina and Duke do it. I mean, I want something better for this. I want a good name.
Concord, A.L. Brown, they battle for a bell.
They do. I mean, and well, A.L. Brown. First off, can we just talk about the fact that A.L.
I got
Brown,
an idea for you, Carson.
All right, please go. Please go.
Hunter Huss, Ashbrook.
What?
The battle for Tony's ice cream. The ice cream truck. You get a big truck of ice cream. Winner's side gets a truck of ice cream. As soon as the game's over, football players eating ice cream on the field. You're welcome.
Throw up, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Let's
Let's all worry about that after we win.
You really want to
no ice cream for you guys.
You want
Sorry.
to pound a pint of grape ice cream after going to battle for 40
I want a
minutes.
grape and banana mix.
Oh God. See, that's one thing. I love Tony's. I never got into the grape and all that weird stuff. Terry, you got something?
And you know, we was talking about stuff like that. Don't forget Fat Fridays tonight too. Freedom against East Burke.
Ooh, there you go.
You know, so you know, you talk about different things that people come up with. Freedom leads the all-time series 26-18. Back in 2009, this series was tied at 18-18, and Freedom's won the last 8.
Wow.
You know, so and the last time that East Burke won, Tyler Shatney, NFL player, ran for 2 touchdowns against them.
Where do you get Fat Friday? I want to know all the story behind that. I mean,
there's always a story, you know, and you have to go in depth to figure out what it is and how they come up with it. But I love it because, I mean, you know, when you have something, I mean, the Battle of the South Fork River, I mean, you know, well, Lincoln and then West Lincoln would play, you know. I mean, you got to have something.
That's like Shelby and Crest. They don't have a name for their rivalry.
But it is.
I know Alan Ford did a thing in the paper a few years ago about that. Will become a name. I came up with Broad River Shootout. I think that's a great.
Not bad.
You know, like the Red River Shootout with Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's not bad.
What is it? Battle of Buffalo Creek?
Battle of Buffalo Creek.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I think I hear the fade music. This is like the Oscars. They're telling me to shut up. All right. So it's been week 3 here on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Carson Dockery, Shannon Allen, and Terry Reinhardt along with you. Be sure to tune in after the games to the Ronaldo Automall postgame show right here on KTC Broadcasting. We'll see you next week.
My skill position so proficient, break for long runs. Come out running that option. That mean I got the option to keep that or pitch that. Defense, they gotta fix that. 4 receivers, we spread them out in the shotgun. Hot reads, I got some. My tight end, so awesome. Touchdowns, I toss some. We score 6, 6 scoreboard, that score 6. Respect the ball, we protect the ball. We don't fumble, no throw picks. I feed my linemen pancakes, so all they blocks are pancakes. Push you around like all night. End of the game, get your handshakes, huh? My helmet on, pass strap tight. My jersey shining in them Friday night lights. Win, win, we just came to win. Win, win, we just came to win. Friday night lights. Friday night lights. Win, win, we just came to win. Win, win, we must protect this house.
You need is your prescription bottle for your transfer. So if you've been a Kmart Pharmacy customer, you are invited to transfer your prescriptions over to Medical Arts Pharmacy, 108 Grover Street in Shelby, and Professional Pharmacy, 139 East College Avenue in Bowling Springs, your locally owned and operated hometown pharmacy. It's the 94th Annual Cleveland County Fair, September 27th through October 7th. This year, the Cleveland County Fair salutes our veterans. And now you can get your advance tickets at any Circle K convenience store. Entertainment includes America's Country Darlings, Jay Mattiola with his electrifying magic, Act Monsters Chainsaw Art, the Pork Chop Review, Dance Spectacular, Freestyle Madness Motorcycles, and BMX Throwdown. And of course, the Carolina Carnage Demolition Derby. For a complete listing of times and events, go to clevelandcountyfair.com. Don't miss the 94th Annual Cleveland County Fair, September 27th through October 7th.
Welcome to Burns High School for week 3 of high school football between Shelby Golden Lions and the Burns Bulldogs. Brent Pasco and Jeff Jones bringing action to you here at Burns High School. But as luck would have it, even though the sun is shining, we're in a lightning delay because there is lightning in the area. So we'll keep you up to date on what's going on with the weather. But we are still here in our pregame show, sponsored by Bill Shuford Heating and Air. Jeff, and we'd like to first tell Steve Robay to get well. Steve got a little ill this week, and so he won't be back at Studio Central. Calvin Hastings will be back there manning the back station for us tonight, and maybe even Teresa will be back there for a little bit. So Steve, we wish you a speedy recovery and miss you tonight. Jeff, it's Burns coming in 0-1, Shelby 1-1 both. Coming off a loss, Burns coming off a loss in a bye week, and Shelby with a tough loss last week up at AC Reynolds, where they gave up a score late in the fourth quarter and lost that game 17-14.
Yeah, it was a close game. It was a hard-fought game. It was not a beautiful game as far as football goes, but it was an exciting game, and the fourth quarter was just absolutely back and forth all the time. So. It was a very exciting fourth quarter, but the Golden Lions came up on the short end of that, 17-14. They did have a long field goal attempt at the very end of the game, but it was short.
Yeah, that was a tough one. It was a 48-yard attempt. Silas Goss comes in, never had attempted a field goal in his high school career. His first year kicking for Shelby High School actually this year. Tough spot to come in. 48-yard field goal with 9 seconds left to tie it on the road. He wasn't able to connect, and I'm sure Silas will bounce back and make some kicks in the future for the Golden Lions.
No doubt about it. We've both been really impressed with his strong leg. He's done a very good job kicking off, and that's obviously why he came in to try that long field goal, because he has the leg that made it a possibility. But that's a tough situation to run in to try your first ever varsity field goal, and it's 48 yards.
Yeah, it was a tough one. It may have been partially tipped, but it fell short. Shelby took the loss 17-14 up at AC Reynolds. But a game you can build on, Jeff. We talked about it in the post game that there's a lot of film the coaches are going to be able to watch on that game, because you saw some early season penalties, you saw some turnovers, some blocking scheme misassignments, you saw some missed tackling, and then you saw some good things. You saw some good running plays, good passing, a couple of guys emerged in the passing game, Nigel Odom being one of those that caught a couple of TDs. So one of those games you can definitely watch a lot of film and learn from.
Well, and the statistics will show that Shelby did not rush the ball very well. I mean, their average per attempt was less than 1 yard per attempt. But the thing that really is hard to get your mind around the success they did have, they rushed. They had 54 rushing attempts. They gained 174 yards. And, you're saying, wait a minute, you just told me they gained 49 yards. Well, they gained 174 yards rushing, and then they lost 125 yards from sacks, basically. And so, what was a fairly good-looking rushing total becomes a really bad rushing total, because in high school football, sacks take away from your rushing total. In college football, sacks take away from your passing total. And it's really unusual, because in college football, a quarterback can throw for 350 yards. If he's got 50 yards in sacks, the quarterback threw for 350 yards, but the team threw for 300. And so it's a really misleading stat. But so Shelby, even though they did have some good running plays, and that's one of the things that when I got to kind of look back over the film during this week, I saw some good plays. Obviously not as many as you want up front, but I saw some good plays, and so there is some hope.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We saw some good running plays. We saw, Isaiah Best make some good runs at the quarterback spot. But as the game wore on, AC Reynolds dialed up the blitzes. And, he started getting hit quite often and took some sacks that were, greater than 10-yard losses and put Shelby in some rough spots. We turned it over. The Golden Lions did 4 times, Jeff, to 0 for AC Reynolds. And so hard to, and I'm sure all the coaches and anybody will tell you, if you turn it over 4 times and the other team doesn't turn it over at all, it's going to be really tough to win a ball game.
Well, and we talked, for years about high school football especially is momentum is such an important part. And a turnover is a momentum killer. And it's when you turn it over, it's a momentum killer. When you take it away, it's a momentum builder. And so Shelby had to overcome 4 turnovers. And also, in addition to the 4 turnovers, they were not as penalized last week as they were the week before, but it seemed that every penalty was crucial. It was a 5-yard penalty when it was going to be 2nd and 4. It became 2nd and 9. It was a 10-yard penalty. What was going to be a 50-yard pass became a 15-yard penalty because it was a pass. It was a passing situation. The lineman was 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He got called for holding. Next thing you know, Shelby's back on their 10-yard line. Instead of being 1st and 10 on the 35 of AC Reynolds with momentum on your side, now it's 2nd and 25 from your own 10, and that's just it's really hard to overcome that.
Yeah, it was a game that was scoreless at half and then had an exciting second half, although it wasn't pretty. It was exciting, and you talked about momentum. There had to be 5 or 6 momentum-changing plays. One of them was really odd. Shelby was back at their own 2-yard line, or the punter was, in punt formation. The other team had a couple of guys running off the field late, so they had about 13 guys on the field. And the only thing we can come up with, Jeff, is the Shelby coaching staff said snap it with the extra guys in the field. They snapped it. It looked like Shelby's punter took off to run the ball thinking they're going to call a penalty. He then fumbled it, and AC picks it up and runs it in for a touchdown from like the 5-yard line. And all of a sudden the lead's gone and the momentum's shifted, and they didn't call the penalty, and then you kind of got all off of your ball game, if so to speak.
Well, that's true, and that particular play, the average fan, watches college football on Saturday, watches pro football on Sunday. They're not going to miss that call, because if they do, you're going to throw out a challenge flag, and they're going to show the film from up top, and they're going to be able to see, is there a guy that's still on the field trying to make his way off? But in high school, they may see it, they may not see it. And what I thought was interesting, Brent, is neither you nor I saw the guy trying to get off the field, right. But everybody in the press box, and keep in mind, we're in the AC Reynolds press box. They're the guys that said, oh, we got away with one because we had 1 or 2 guys that were nowhere near off the field. So, you and I were really confused, but then, putting all that together, that's what we think happened.
Yeah, and like you said, Jeff, we really didn't see it ourselves. And so, the bottom line is the penalty was not called, and you got to play on. And so I would think that Coach Ware, and I haven't heard your coach's conversation, but we will hear that in the next segment. I would assume he would say we didn't deserve to win regardless of that call, and because of the turnovers and so on and so forth. But anyway, a good game to build on, film to watch, and then you got to forget that game because you got a county rival game here tonight at Burns High School against one of your big rivals and longtime rivals. And we'll talk more about tonight's game on this Bill Shuford Heating and Air pregame show. We'll be back after this 30-minute break on our pregame show.
For the best pizza in town, it's got to be Jammin' Jay's Pizza Factory in Shelby, located at 1011 Grove Street, just off Highway 74 Bypass East. It's fun for the entire family at Jammin' Jay's Pizza Factory. Call or stop by and let Jammin' Jay's Pizza Factory take care of your takeout and catering needs. You'll find specialty pizzas, including liver mush pizza and bacon cheeseburger pizza, Philly cheesesteak, subs and wings, and delivery is available for all catering orders, and they offer discount rates for schools and churches. Jammin' Jay's Pizza Factory, 1011 Grover Street, off Highway 74 East in Shelby, open 7 days a week.
From Shelby, turn off Highway 74 at Highway 226, up Highway 226 to the caution light at Zion Church Road. There on the corner is Kibo's, been there for over 20 years. Kibo's, where you'll find Hunt Brothers Pizza, snacks, candy, chips, also soft drinks, hand-dipped and packaged ice cream, bread, tobacco products, and much more. Yes, that's Kibo's. And don't forget to fill that vehicle up with gasoline at Kibo's, 226 North at the caution light in Shelby.
The Dodge Summer Clearance Event is underway at Marburger Chrysler Dodge Jeep in Shelby. During the Dodge Summer Clearance Event, you can drive away in a new 2018 Dodge Challenger with up to $2,250 combined cash on select new 2018 Dodge Challenger models, and get up to $2,000 total cash on select new 2018 Dodge Durango models. Don't miss this special summer clearance event at Marburger Chrysler Dodge Jeep, Highway 74 Bypass East in Shelby. Check. Matt Surbeck, General Sales Manager with McKinney Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac in Lowell, is a proud resident of Cleveland County. And Matt wants to take this time and invite his friends and neighbors to McKinney Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac for your next vehicle purchase. The selection is great, and Matt will make sure you get the price you need to fit your pocketbook. So do the neighborly thing. See Matt Surbeck at McKinney Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac, 831 South Main Street in Lowell, online at McKinneyChevrolet.com.
This is Martin Truex Jr., and as a NASCAR Cup Series champion, I love one-stop shopping. When I need fresh tires or fuel during a race, my pit crew takes care of everything. Off the track, I have an Auto Owners independent agent. They handle all my insurance in one place: car, home, life, and business. Get your own pit crew and find a local agency with Auto Owners Insurance.
Your Auto Owners Insurance Agency is Maxwell Hamrick Insurance Agency in Bowling Springs, Shelby, and Spindale. Online at mbhamrickins.com.
Every morning is different for everybody. Nate gets up for the early shift, while Brad is just getting home from the night shift. Pam runs a PR and a 5K, while Drew runs late to work. Beth proposes a road trip to her boyfriend, while Mark proposes to his girlfriend. Luckily, there's a McDonald's for every morning.
Start your morning with a rich, smooth, and freshly brewed McCafe coffee. And now, get any size for just $1 at McDonald's. Limited time offer. Price of participation may vary. A la carte only.
Welcome back into the Bill Shuford Heating and Air pregame show here at Burns High School. If you missed the first segment, we're in a lightning delay, so that could slightly delay the kickoff, and we'll keep you posted on that. But Brent Pasco, Jeff Jones here, bringing you this pregame show. Jeff, we talked a lot about last week's games between Shelby and AC Reynolds. Burns' first game was 2 weeks ago against Alexander Central right here in Bulldog Country, Ron Green Stadium. But Alexander Central won that game 40-7, and as you said, you watched a little bit of film, and is a little less one-sided than that as far as the film goes. But Burns, of course, looking to rebound from that loss.
Well, that's true, and there's two things you need to keep in mind. One thing, Alexander Central had probably one of their best football seasons last year, and they had the vast majority of that team back this year. So they had great expectations going in, and they were huge, Brent. I mean, they had a fullback that looked like that looked more like a guard, and he ran pretty well. And they've got a quarterback back. He ran the ball well, and they had a huge offensive line. And what happened with Burns? It's 7-0 at halftime, and Burns drove down, missed a field goal pretty much the last play of the first half. Had they not run out of time, they had a chance to poke in a score to get a touchdown. But so they missed a field goal, and so it's 7-0 at half. And then Burns turns it over the first time they get it in the second half, give up a touchdown, and now they're down by 2 scores. And so what really happened to Burns was they got physically dominated in the third and fourth quarter because their defense was on the field so long.
Yeah, and that's always tough when your defense is out there. We saw that with Shelby both of the first 2 weeks, where the offense had maybe one too many 3-and-outs, and you saw a lot of defenders on their knees, grabbing their hips, and it takes a toll late in the ball game. And Shelby gave up 17 in the fourth quarter last week to lose 17-14, and so that probably played a little bit into it. But tonight it's Burns and Shelby here, county rival, I guess #1 of the season when you look across the county. Crest has a bye week tonight, and what's really strange, Jeff, is how the bye weeks have worked out for the county teams, because Kings Mountain had a bye on opening week. Now they got to play 11 straight. Then Burns had a bye week in week 2, and now Crest has a bye week in week 3.
And from Shelby's perspective, it's interesting because Burns had a bye the week before they played Shelby, and Crest has a bye the week before they play Shelby. I think the bye, an early bye, can be a good thing from a coaching perspective. we had some early buys. We actually had a buy the last week of the regular season, which I thought was the most difficult thing to overcome. But